Hey, what's up guys? We're gonna talk a little bit about cleat fitting. This is gonna be kind of just the basis for what we go off of when we are fitting a foot and a cleat over a pedal. So the first thing we wanna kind of go through is just talk a little bit about where the foot should be on a pedal. And it really doesn't matter which pedal system it is, whether it's a block pedal, a clipless pedal, a road pedal, a mountain bike pedal, it really doesn't matter. All we're trying to do is get the ball of the foot over the center of the pedal. And if we really want to look at what the ball of the foot is, got a great diagram right here, or model here. We all recognize this as physical therapists. This is of course a left foot. What I want to kind of bring your attention to is what forms the ball of the foot. The ball of the foot essentially is formed by first metatarsophalangeal joint and then the fifth metatarsophalangeal joint. Everybody's body has a little bit of a different angle with how much this angle from the first MTP is to the fifth MTP. So some people will have a very flat line here, some people will have a very angled foot. And so when we are going through and we are taking a look at the off the bike assessment, we also want to be looking at the foot and kind of the shape of the foot so we can kind of get that lined up. So that's kind of what we're trying to do, is get the ball of the foot over the center of the pedal. The center of the pedal, of course, is what we call the pedal spindle, or the pedal axle, depending on who you're talking to. This, of course, is a block pedal, as we can all see. But basically what we're going to be looking at when we're doing bike fitting is looking at kind of this center point of the pedal. And this is what's going to kind of give us our idea of the center of the pedal. So when we are lining up a foot or lining up a cleat over that pedal, all we are trying to do is get the first MTP just slightly anterior to that, so much so that the fifth MTP is behind that pedal spindle. If we were to imagine a straight line coming across this pedal, we want the big toe slightly forward or anterior, fifth MTP slightly behind. So if we were to draw a line between this of where the angle of the pedal spindle should be, it should be just about like this. When we are then adjusting the cleat, or we're educating that client where their foot should be on the pedal, that is the ideal position because that is the optimal lever arm to be pushing through that pedal. If we're pushing a little bit farther forward through the toes, we're gonna end up trying to use our toe muscles to claw down, often resulting in foot cramps, as well as tingling numbness in the feet, et cetera, et cetera. So ultimately what we're trying to do is line that thing up. Anytime anybody has foot pain, tingling and numbness, when in doubt, the cleat a lot of times is too far forward, the foot itself is too far forward, which therefore moves the foot further back. So when we look at a cleat, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the cleats themselves. Like I said, I've got kind of a very old, this is what we call a road cleat. This generally will fit into what we'd call more of a road style pedal, or a kind of a look style pedal. The other version, of course, is our very popular SPD cleat as well. Each one of these cleats has the ability, there are a couple other Speed Play, Crank Brothers, et cetera, but all of them have the same functionality where we can either move this cleat back, up or down, as well as side to side, as well as rotation. And we'll get into the specifics of that, but the main thing you need to think about when we're adjusting the cleat in relation to the foot is everything is backwards. If we have the foot on the pedal and we desire to move the foot further forward, we would be moving the cleat backwards or towards the heel. If we would like to move the foot forward, backwards, we would then be moving the cleat up. So everything is kind of in your mind. You need to start thinking about, all right, what do I want to do? I need to move this foot forward, so I need to move the cleat back. Or if I need to move the foot back, I need to move the cleat up. Vice versa, when we do side-to-side adjustments, if we move the cleat medially, that will put the foot out further laterally on the pedal, and vice versa. If we move the cleat further lateral, that will of course bring our foot closer in when we're pedaling. So we'll get into this in a little bit more detail, but these are really important concepts to understand, is that when we're adjusting the cleat, it's always backwards world. If we rotate so the top part of the cleat is in, that is gonna make my heel turn in. If we rotate the cleat out laterally, it's gonna move my heel out laterally as well. Sometimes nice to have a cleat and a pedal that you can kind of practice on these as you're getting used to this, because as we move things up and down, oftentimes in our brain, we're talking with our clients, we sometimes forget what we're doing, but always understand it's always backwards as well. And that doesn't matter whether that's a road cleat, an SPD cleat, speed play, doesn't matter. That's the same concept. You need to get that all down. Ideally, we're trying to get the first MTP in front of pedal spindle, fifth MTP behind it as well, as best as we can line that up. Some people will have a lot more variability depending on this angle of the foot itself, up and down, but ideally we want that right in the center where the big toe is clearly in front, pinky toe is clearly behind, and now we are pushing on the optimal lever arm to be pushing that bike. So more to come with that. We'll get a bike set up on here so you can actually see what this kind of looks like, but these are the basis of understanding cleat fitting and positioning of that foot on the pedal. Thanks.